my Menttium year ended up just kind of by happenstance, although Laurie would say also because I was working towards it. It spanned perfectly like the 6 months leading up to a big internal promotion and then the 6 months of being in my new role. And that was just a beautiful experience because Laurie followed me both from needing to really make an effort to figure out what does my next move look like, what could the next career path look like, applying to several jobs, going through the interviewing process, and then landing a director role. And in this case, it was in a completely different area of the business. It was really helpful as I was then needing to have a mind shift between what does it take to switch from being a senior manager into a director? What does that mean for how I show up to my direct reports, to my manager, to building a new network in a different part of this large company? And what are the things I could start doing to be really successful in this role? So again, those were all connection points that were helpful to be able to reach out to her and use as sources of content and inspiration for the conversations we've had together.
I think Bethany had all of the main ingredients that a person needs to advance, and she's talked really eloquently about those, but she was prepared every time. Before we got started, she was prepared, as I said, to embrace Menttium, and then for every meeting, she gave thought to what she would like us to accomplish and prepared me so that I had enough time to maximize our time together. So I think that was part of the success, and that it just built on who Bethany already is and on the strengths that she was bringing to the new position.
I think that when a person is creating a career for themselves, especially in my case where I've been a part of a large organization now for many years, it can sometimes feel very isolating even within a big company. You sometimes lose sight of the fact that the challenges or struggles that you're having are very universal, right? And that when you're encountering either barriers or things you're contemplating about your career, there is real value to someone who has been through that experience, even if not at the same company, but to be able to tap into. And I wanted to mention, I remember one of the onboarding meetings that the representative from Menttium was very specific in saying, when it comes to making a match for Menttium, we want you to trust the process, because Menttium said we're very good at making matches, and we may not 100% get it right, but we're probably at least at 95, 96% of getting it right. And so I tried to be intentional when I was filling out my intake stuff of remembering that somebody else could be responsible for looking at what I'm hoping to get out of the experience and the mentors who are available and making a good match. And I'm very thankful in retrospect that I didn't try to be too prescriptive of who I wanted to be matched with, because I really do think Laurie was the perfect match for me, and the things that she experienced in her career, she has worked in a slightly different business unit than where I'm focused, and she was working in a different location in the country and with some different dynamics. There's so much I found that we had in common of how we made career choices, how we balanced family and career opportunities. And so I think those are evergreen kind of scenarios that are going to be resonant now and in the future. And so it was helpful for me to see somebody who was able to understand what I'm going through, having no other relationship with the company that I'm in, and still help me in a very current way, even though her time in the work world doesn't align with right now. All the experiences that she brought were still completely relevant to things I'm going through.
I would say there are a couple things, distance and confidentiality, that are really important. We get very involved in our own cultures. We should be experts of the cultures that we are working in. But I think it's very valuable to have a mentor from the outside, a mentor who knows a different culture who's going to acknowledge your culture is different and I don't know it. But maybe there are things that I experience that you haven't had an opportunity to experience, and those are great to share. And so that's the distance piece. The confidentiality piece is, I'm not in your workplace. You don't have to worry about this getting back to anyone. Our relationship is our relationship. And confidentiality is so important to me, and trust is so important to all of us, that we spend some time at the beginning of our relationship talking about the confidence that Bethany could have and that I could have in her, that this was information for the two of us. And I guess the other thing that I would add for mentors is that I learned from every mentee, and certainly learned lots of good techniques from Bethany, and lots of good thinking and people skills as well. So there are tremendous benefits to being a mentor. I hope there are lots of benefits to mentees as well, but I know mentors benefit from this as well.